Hello folks, today we're going to do a small review of the new Antec cleaning solutions materials. They've been provided to me thanks to the kind folks over at Antec Incorporated. Um, these are their new wipes that they're bringing out, and it's basically for cleaning screens on high-def TVs, gaming console, the handheld gaming consoles, tablets, smartphones, portable computers like laptops, things of that nature. Um, they sent me two different kinds. We have the 3 times strength, and we have the 100% natural. Now, the difference between them being that the 3 times strength wipes are antibacterial, anti-static, alcohol and ammonia free, and fingerprint resistant. The 100% natural wipes are no chemical additives, alcohol and ammonia free, anti-static, and fingerprint resistance. So they're basically the same, except the 3 times strength are also antibacterial, and the 100% natural are with no chemical additives. So the devices that we have here before us today are a Nintendo DS Lite as well as an HP laptop computer. Now, the HP laptop is not quite as nasty as the Nintendo DS Lite is. We try to keep it as clean as possible on a regular basis, though, things happen, so it doesn't always ensure that kind of quality. Whereas the DS Lite, my son tends to play it a lot, and so he ends up getting a lot of, saliva and things like that on it. you know, Children do what children do. But anyway, I'm going to use the 100% natural wipes on the laptop, and because of the difference of amount of smudges and other things on the DS Lite compared to the laptop, I'm going to use the 3 times strength wipe on the Nintendo DS Lite. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so with the laptop here is what we're going to start off with. You'll notice that here on the trackpad area is a fairly fingerprint area. I mean, you can see a lot of smudges and things of that nature. We usually don't get that too nasty, but I will be applying it there as well. I mean, you gotta get it as clean as possible everywhere, everywhere as possible. Notice that the keys have some things on them as well as the screen. I kind of intentionally left it this way for the last couple of weeks just to ensure that I'll actually be able to have something to clean off of here. As I said, we usually keep them pretty clean, and usually don't have to do anything like this. I have other cleaning solutions, but these definitely seem like they're going to be a nice new addition to my collection, and I would like to do a comparison, obviously. So let's go ahead and get the wipe out. Now, one thing I can tell you right off the bat is the wipes are wet. They're fairly thin. However, it kind of feels almost dry, almost like a powder. But it's obviously wet. I mean, it looks wet. It does have a little bit of a wet feel, but to a certain extent, it kind of feels like powder. Now, you've already seen the before. I'm going to go ahead and start wiping everything down. So far, seems like everything's kind of coming up fairly well. Go ahead and wipe down the keys. Now the trackpad area As I said before, it was a little smudgy because of the fingerprints, but not very bad. So far everything seems to be coming up a little bit. You have some stubborn spots, but I've even noticed that with my other cleaning solutions, some of those stubborn spots tend to be stubborn no matter what. Okay, let's go with the screen next. And with the screen, you don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on it, but you want to go from one corner all the way at an angle all the way across. And one thing I'm noticing is that as far as fingerprints go, and these towelettes dry out fairly quickly from what I'm feeling here. But one thing I'm noticing that I'm not liking is it's cleaning up the majority of everything, but it doesn't like to clean up fingerprints very well. Now, other solutions that I've used, such as the Philips brand solution that I have, for instance, which is designed specifically for LCD screens, primarily television sets, they tend to get these fingerprints out very well, actually. This appears as if it's going to take either a lot more effort with this, and with a little bit extra effort it is starting to come up better, but I shouldn't have to be wiping over this multiple times. Now note that this is the 100% natural solution, so I think that if the 3 times strength wipes work as well as I'm hoping they will on the DS, then I think I'm going to go ahead and use those on this as well to make sure that this comes up properly, just to see how much of a difference it'll make. Okay, now we have the DS light here, and you can see the smudges and other things. You know, we try to keep my son from, you know, eating around the game consoles and stuff, but you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do when you're not around. And anyway, like I said, I kind of let it go for a couple of weeks to see how it would end up, and well, this is the gist of it basically. I've already opened up the 3 times strength wipe. Now this one, I'm not going to unfold it completely right off the bat, because I want to see if I can make this one last a little bit longer than the other one did. One thing I am disappointed with so far is how quickly the wipe dries out. To me, it just feels like there's not near enough solution in there. And so far, yeah, I'm not having to put a whole lot of pressure on this with the 3 times strength wipe. You know, I understand the environmentally safe part of the 100% natural wipe. That is a really good idea. Unfortunately, for Antec's sake, these 3 times wipes are just, wow, they're way better. I mean, this stuff just came off pretty much perfect, as you can see here, and I can't really see a whole lot left on there. And now, as I promised, I'm going to go ahead and grab that laptop back and see if I can get those smudges off. See, there are the smudges I was referring to. And let's go ahead and see if I can manage to get those off using the 3 times wipe. So far, so good. I mean, it's still taking a little bit of extra effort but for the most part, I mean, these fingerprints are coming up pretty cleanly. It does take a little bit of extra effort, as I mentioned. However, it is definitely a vast improvement. I can say that already. Let's go ahead and unfold this. Now, one other thing I noticed is that the more these dry out, the less potent they become, and basically less useful they become. So you have to be very quick with them. We're going to stubborn spot down here, and as you can see, I mean, pretty well cleared up the fingerprints. There's still a few small smudge spots, but as far as those go, I mean, like I said, I've always had issues with a couple of spots, but where those fingerprints were, they're gone now, and those are ones that, you know, they're not always there. They're not there to stay. So I'll be adding a written review to this video, so feel free to read through that on the page that I'll be putting it at deviceunknown.com. I'll be providing a link in my comment as well on the Antec Facebook page. Thank you very much. This is Ronald Smith. Have a good evening.